This is Detention, Condensed. The game is set in 1960s Taiwan during the White Terror. During this time period, a lot of Taiwanese citizens were imprisoned and executed for opposing the authoritarian government. The game starts in a classroom. A military officer calls for Miss Yin, the teacher, asking about a book list. Later, a student named Wei wakes up in the classroom alone. Wei heads to the auditorium and finds a girl passed out on a chair, so he goes on the stage to wake her up. The girl is disoriented, unsure as to how she got there in the first place. The two of them head outside to go home, but the bridge on the way has collapsed, so they go back to school to stay the night. In the classroom, the girl introduces herself as Fang Reishin, also just going by Ray. Wei decides to go to the principal's office to call for help. On his way, the environment changes, revealing a decaying version of the school. Now, the game switches to Ray's perspective. Ray wakes up at the auditorium and finds Wei's dead body hanging upside down. There's evil spirits roaming the area, and Ray starts to experience some unsettling visions. To proceed, Ray has to solve puzzles using some rather unpleasant methods. After running away from a ghastly being, Ray finds herself back in her bedroom. She's reliving the past, worrying about graduation and trying to ignore her parents fighting. At this point of the game, the events taking place are just Ray going through her memories in a non-linear fashion. So let's start at the beginning. Ray used to be a diligent student, doing very well in school. But at home, her parents began to fight a lot, causing her to neglect her studies. One night, she saw her dad cheating with another woman. Depressed and desperate, Ray went to Mr. Chang, the school counselor, for help. The two of them fell in love and started a romantic relationship. But when the counseling process was over, Mr. Chang distanced himself from Ray. Unbeknownst to Ray, Mr. Chang and Miss Yin, the teacher at the beginning, were running a secret book club where they smuggled banned books. Wei was also a member of this club. Miss Yin questions Mr. Chang about his relationship with Ray. Ray overhears this conversation and, misunderstanding the situation, she becomes jealous. She gets a list of the banned books from Wei and gives it to the authorities. Because of this, Miss Yin escapes the country and Mr. Chang is caught and executed. Wei and his fellow club members burn the books in order to hide their tracks, but they get caught anyway. Ray is rewarded for turning in the club members, but she's bullied by her classmates, so she takes her own life. So this whole game takes place in Purgatory, where Ray has to come to terms with her past. Ray comes across a shadowy version of herself and she's given the choice to take accountability for her actions or to deny them. If she denies her sins, her shadow self rejects her. Apparitions of Wei, Mr. Chang, and Miss Yin appear and tell her that she will continue to suffer in the afterlife. Ray walks into the auditorium and onto the stage, where she's given a noose. She prepares to hang herself and the scene changes, showing the abandoned auditorium. The implication is that the cycle will continue for her. So that's the bad ending of the game. If Ray chooses to acknowledge her sins, her shadow self accepts her and Ray receives a paper airplane from Mr. Chang. She sees a vision of Mr. Chang just before he was caught and executed. The game cuts to the present and shifts to Wei, who's now an old man. Martial law has been lifted and Wei has been released from jail after 15 years. He heads on back to the school, now abandoned. He goes inside the old classroom and sits across from Ray's ghost. And that's it. That's Detention, Condensed. Thanks for watching. So Red Candle Games, the game developer that made Detention, has another game called Devotion. Due to some controversy with the Chinese audience, the game was pulled from Steam. But good news, this happened a while ago, but Red Candle Games launched their own online store and now you can get the game. If you want to buy Devotion, I left the link in the description below. I've heard some really good things about the game. I'm definitely going to do a video on it sooner or later, but anyways, peace out y'all.
Peace, peace.